Okay, so let's get this out of the way. So thank you everyone for coming for my talk. Before I start, I would like to personally thank some of the sponsors. I mean, Stack Overflow, without those guys, none of us would be here. Also, New Relic, they allows us to catch our crap on production, which is an incredible service. Okay, so I suppose I should introduce myself. My name is TOMASZ LAKOMY. I'm a senior front-end developer at OLX Group. We have our largest classified service in the world. We have offices in Poland, in Lisbon, and also in Berlin. And we are hiring, so if you'd like to join us, you know where to find me. I will be happy to recommend all of you, because I'm trying to get money for a new apartment. Okay, so in this talk, we will be covering 3 things. I will be talking about React, of course, it's a React conference. Also VR, AR, like all of it sounds like something from the future, right? It's very futuristic, and that is correct, because I do personally believe that we are living in the future. But before we discuss the future, I think it's kind of important to go back to the past. Because by understanding the past, we can better appreciate the future that we have today. Yeah, by the way, this little guy, it's actually me, giving my first talk about HTML table layout in 1996. So there you go, I have 20 years of experience as a tech speaker. I think I'm the most experienced one. Okay, question for all of you guys. What was the web like 5 years ago? For instance, we had to support i8. I know that I did. How many of you are still supporting i8? We are hiring, just in case. Okay, also, we didn't have many things that we take for granted today, like PWAs, CSS grid, styled components, we didn't have those. I mean, seriously, honestly, we had no idea how to center stuff in CSS. In 2012, 2013, it was so goddamn hard. But the thing that we had, and we still do, by the way, is the best thing of them all, which is, of course, jQuery, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, seriously, jQuery is the best thing that ever happened to the web. I'm only half joking. Okay. But to tell you the truth, I think that some things, they haven't changed that much. Of course, we have styled components today, we have React, but there are some things that are kind of the same. What I mean by that, and by the way, this is my personal opinion, you are more than welcome to disagree on Twitter, my handle is over here, is that so much of the web is about having a white background and a list of content that you can scroll down, like Facebook, Twitter with CSS drama, Reddit, YouTube with Justin Bieber videos. And don't get me wrong, those are outstanding, fantastic websites which I use daily. I'm addicted to YouTube and Tinder. Shit. My fiance is going to kill me. Twitter. I'm addicted to Twitter. But I just think, that the web can be so much more than this. There are other possibilities that we can explore. And it's just fun to explore. Not everything that you do has to end up on production environment somewhere. It's just fun to try out new stuff. You never know where it's going to take you. For instance, it brought me here to Alicante. Like I said, we are living in the future. And to tell you the truth, future is weird. I mean, I'm not probably the only one who was kind of expecting to have a flying car by now. I mean, god damn it, it's 2018. By the way, Elon, this doesn't count. I mean, technically it does, right? Because it's flying, but this is not what I mean. Yeah, speaking of cars, when I was a small boy, my mother used to always tell me not to get into a car with a stranger. That's a valid advice, right? 20 years later, we are summoning strangers from thin air because we are too drunk to stand after a speaker's dinner. Okay. She also used to tell me one more thing, is that I shouldn't sit too close to the TV, because then I would damage my eyesight. I would have to wear those for the rest of my life, which I do, by the way, because I didn't listen. And 20 years later, beat it, Mom. I'm wearing the TV on my face. Anyway, thank you. Back to the web. In 2018, we can do more. We can do more because we have fantastic libraries and frameworks that we didn't have before, such as React. And one of the things that I love about React so much, apart from the community, which is excellent, is the fact that you can use React for all kinds of crazy things. You have React for, native, for the web, for Canvas, for Word documents, for terminal, for presentations, for TV, for your microwave. Okay, maybe not the microwave, but you get my point. The point is that you can use React for all kinds of things. And in this talk, I will be covering two of those. There's React for AR and VR. And I'm going to start with AR, which stands for augmented reality. Not to be confused with virtual reality, because this is something else entirely. And honestly, like, even though I do wear glasses, I'm not going to quote Wikipedia here. Like, for me, the best example of AR was Pokemon Go, which was a huge hype for 2 weeks. I do remember, like, everyone was so excited, walking around. Actually, I've seen web developers outside, including me. But what happened? What the hell? In any case, AR is a layer on top of the real world. So you have actual content that you can see with your own eyes, and on top of it, you also have some external content like this snake thingy. Okay. There are many types of AR. Like, in this talk, I will be covering one of those, which is marker-based AR, for two reasons. One is the most easiest to get started, and two, it's supported by the widest range of devices. Honestly, I don't care this much if something can be done only on the newest iPhone, on a newest Pixel, because what I like to do is to kind of reach the widest audience with whatever I do. This is why I do public speaking. In any case, when I talk about marker, I don't mean anything like this. More like this. So this is a marker that AR is using to kind of know where it is in relation to for instance, position of the camera. So this is a screenshot. Like I said, it was taken from an Android device, which is fairly old. I think it's been 5 years old by now. And you can see that there's real-world stuff, like this Mac keyboard and this table, and also there's this marker. And on top of it, you have this content that only exists on the screen of your phone. And we have something called React Web AR, which allows us to use AR on the web with React. It's an experimental and work in progress project created by Nitin Tulswani. And honestly, if you had to follow one person on Twitter after this talk, it should be him, because he makes all kinds of fantastic, crazy projects. And it allows us to use augmented reality on the web with React. And basically what it does, it kind of wraps AR.js, which is a JavaScript library that allows us to use AR on the web in the first place. It wraps it with React, so you can use it inside of React applications. And also this is what you get to get you accepted on a React conference. Okay, so this is a source code of a hello world kind of AR. So what we have here is just components, and this is going to stay for the rest of the talk. Everything that I'm going to cover today is just components as we are used to. So we have two more. So basically what this one does, this A-frame renderer, it basically is going to tell you, okay, in this part of the application, I would like you to use AR capabilities. Also, if you happen to see the marker, this is the default hero marker I've shown a couple of slides before. I want you to get me a blue box and also some animation. Those A thingies are taken from A-frame, which is the thing that Dominic mentioned during his very first talk in the morning. And yeah, I did mention that this is experimental and it's work in progress. So it's probably a really dumb idea to do it live, which is exactly what I'm going to do. Okay. Okay, so what I will be doing is that I will be sharing the screen of my phone with you, not the phone itself because I only have one. So I'm going to launch an app that I've created. Bang, there you go. Okay, screw that. All right, cool. It's loaded now. And this is the view from the stage, by the way. Hello, everyone. It's good to see you. Okay, so far, so good. You can see it's live. It's not pre-recorded. And like nothing will probably really difficult, like how the hell. But in any case, here's a marker. And check this out. When I point my phone towards the marker, you can see this blue box out of the box that I mentioned, because it's going to react to this marker. It's not going to react to anything else. And I was able to put the source code for this demo on a single slide. And like, I'm not saying you have to push it to prod, but it's just interesting to thing to discover and to experiment with. Let me move on. Because we don't want to use the default stuff, we would like to use something custom. In other words, for instance, if I we wanted to promote our company, what we could do is to go to a website called AR.js Marker Training and upload basically any image. And what you can do is get a trained marker as a result. And it's actually really cool. I've tried it with pictures of our bunny. We have 2 bunnies, and with all of them it worked. Even with, like houses, or it didn't work with my face though, but okay, this is probably an issue on my side. In any case, what you do is basically you change a single place in your component. So what you do is you set a marker to be a custom one, and also I think this one part is not necessary, bank live coding. So there you go. In like 5 lines of code, what you can do is to have your own very custom marker. So let me show it to you in case you don't believe me. Okay, so I'm going to load up a second demo. There's going to be plenty of demos today, and so far, everything worked. Okay, cool. I have another demo. There you go, it's still live, it's still not pre-recorded. But it's not reacting to this marker anymore because I've trained this marker that is put inside of my application to react to this one. Check, bang, there you go. And you can see I can actually look around, I can move this phone, I can move this one, and it's just going to work. And what I find really interesting about this is that you can use any image whatsoever. Like imagine, I don't know, you go to a museum. I've seen that in Spain. What you can do is you can go to some museums, you are given a smartphone, and what you can do in there is basically you point your phone over a painting and you get a tooltip about, I don't know, what's on the painting. Okay, let me go further. Let's talk about VR, virtual reality. Today, we do have virtual reality. We have it on the web, and we also have it with React. So, question, what is React VR? The better question would be, what was React VR? Because the thing is, I've submitted this talk in January, and things get duplicated, you know? So, in any case, React VR was killed on May the 2nd. So I have nothing to talk about. Thank you. We have React 360, which is basically a new rewritten version of React VR. It allows us to create exciting 360 and VR experiences using React. And how do we get started? Okay, the first thing you need to do is you need to do this Master of Computer Science degree in Coursera. And then you need to do this 3D development course in Chinese. No, you go through 4 commands, honestly. You run npm install, you run init, go to your directory and run npm start. And that's it. 4 steps to have your very first VR experience running in a browser, honestly. And this is what you're going to get as a result. And this is a static image. Static images are boring, so let me switch to a video. To a demo. It's live. Okay, so this is what you're going to get after you've run those 4 commands. You have your very first scene with this text, hello React Alicante in here. Also, you can look around. There's this handy compass over here that kind of lets you know if you get lost. And this is a very simple demo, and I know that. But imagine building this with jQuery. It would probably take you slightly longer than that. And this is just the beginning. What we're going to get next is probably going to get a bit more interesting. Oh yeah, this is the source code for the demo that you just saw. And if you did any React Native whatsoever, you already did React 360, you can add it to your LinkedIn. Because honestly, it's basically the same thing. You have views, you have text, images, you just use the components that you know. When it comes to styling, you have to use the style sheet. So no styled components. Sorry, Sarah. Okay, let's talk about runtime. Because from what I've heard, some of you did 21 kilometers yesterday of runtime. But this is about something else. So in any case, each React 360 application is made up of 2 parts. One of them, is your React application. And the second one is the code that's actually going to turn your React components into 3D elements. And the best part is that we're going to refer to the second piece after runtime. But the thing is that you won't probably have to worry about it too much. I will just explain that in a second after we cover surfaces. So what surfaces are is basically what they allow you to do is to add 2D interfaces to 3D space. A good example would be Iron Man. Like every single time I think of VR, I think of Iron Man, him wearing this helmet, but he also has those screens in front of him. Even though it's kind of 360, those screens are kind of flat because this is what we are used to as human beings. And surfaces are defined in the runtime. So what you do is in the runtime, you define, okay, I want to have this surface, and this surface, and attach A, B, C component to them, like 3 to-do lists or whatever. And there are 2 different types of surfaces. You have a cylinder, which wraps the user around it, and a flat surface, which is, you've guessed it, it's flat. Okay, let me show what it looks like. So what you have here is you have a cylinder, and on top of this cylinder, we also have flat images of the Avengers. So you have the mighty Hulk, Black Widow, the almighty powerful Thor, and Hawkeye, who is in the movies for some reason. In any case, what you will notice is that I've used flat surfaces for those images. So check this out. Pay attention to Hawkeye. He deserves this. Okay, so the thing is, when I'm not looking directly at him, it's kind of white. I have to look directly at him for him to regain his former proportions. So if you want to use some content that will be viewed by the users from an angle, I strongly recommend you use a cylinder because then it's nicely wrapped and you don't have those distortions when it comes to images. Let's talk about 3D objects because it would be probably kind of useful to have 3D items in your scene. For instance, you have a model from Blender, or you get something from Google Poly, and you would like to use it. And it's actually very simple. What you do is you define an entity component, and you attach your model to it. So there are a couple of different types of models supported, and the most important one is GLTF. So as far as I know, it's kind of like a JPEG, but for VR. And let me show you that it actually works. I did mention that we have bunnies at home, and this is basically a bunny party application. So what you have here, we have a view, and it's actually really fast. Like it's 60 FPS on my MacBook Air. And you can see, you can look around, those bunnies are jumping around, those 3D models that I got from Google Poly. And you will notice that, of course, they are jumping. This animation was created using exactly the same API as in React Native. You can use, if you did any animation whatsoever in React Native, there you go, you did animations in React 360. It's exactly the same stuff. And honestly, it's like really easy to use. And this thing would be probably kind of difficult if you weren't using something else. Okay, let's talk about events. Because so far, our application was not actually doing something. Basically, okay, those were not static because the bunnies were jumping around, but I was not able to click on anything. And this is probably what we want to do. And you know what? I could go through those one by one. I mean, shit, I have time. But this would be probably kind of boring, to go through a list of events. And I'm not here to read the documentation for you. And you also might have a question, like all of this is cool, but where's the VR and all of this? And honestly, it's a valid question, right? I mean, you've came here to my talk to listen to VR, and so far you only see the flat screen of the browser. I want my money back. So okay, I cannot afford this, so this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the demo. So it's going to be slightly difficult, but hey, if it's not difficult, it's not fun. So what we are going to do is that first, I need to enable one setting. While I'm doing that, a quick note for you. I won't be able to see you. So 1, no middle fingers towards me. 2, if anything goes wrong, like anything, seriously, just please let me know. Because, like I said, I won't be able to see you. I cannot see you now. And right now, it's going to get even worse. Okay, bang, I'm going in. Just so you know, it could be a slight delay, and I apologize for that. I'm running my own Wi-Fi in here. I'm not using the conference Wi-Fi, because I'm not crazy. Okay, so what we are going to do, I'm going to run Samsung Internet, and as you can clearly see, it was made by Samsung, because it takes 20 seconds to load. Okay, so just give it a second. Can you actually see something? Fantastic. Okay, cool. So my app is loading, so I'm going to tap this View in VR button over here. Oh yeah, you can tap things on your headset with this button over here. Okay, so I have my app loaded. Yes, you can see it. So check this out. I can take a look at this globe, and it will start to spin. If I move my head away from the globe, it will be no longer spinning. And this is an interesting behavior that we didn't have before on the web. Same goes with those flags. You'll notice that I'm looking at the flag, it gets bigger. And we didn't have this. Never before we had a on-look event. I know, like, imagine on desktop, you have an event where it says, okay, you've looked on our ad. You probably want to buy our stuff. And you could do it in VR, honestly, like, oh, I see that you were looking. Okay, cool. So you can look around, you can get items bigger by just looking at them, and you can interact with them, as I said, with just a click of the button. So this app allows you to travel to different places where I had a chance to be in. So for instance, a couple of months ago, I was in Ukraine to visit one of the most unique places in the world, which is a Chernobyl nuclear plant. And this is what I like about VR so much. It allows you to travel to places you wouldn't visit otherwise, because honestly, who normal goes to Chernobyl, apart from me? So yeah, the nuclear power plant is over here. I'm looking directly at it. And this is a photo I took myself from the roof of one of the buildings. And the cool part is that you don't need any equipment to do this. I just had a smartphone, and I did a 360 panorama. It takes a while, but the effect is kind of worth it. Okay. I'm not entirely sure if I did mention that, but I'm Polish. I would like to show you the place where I spent the most of my time in Poland, which is, of course, the conference room at work, where we argue about, CSS, style components, tabs, spaces, semicolons, all of that. Okay, cool. So you can travel to different places, but all of this is static still. Right? There's no movement. And VR is all about movement. It's all about videos and making things happen. So what's up with the static background? So I'm going to click this button, and it's going to take a while to load. And honestly, I'm not entirely sure if I'm facing you. Okay, it's loaded for me. It should be loaded for you any minute now, I hope. Okay, cool. So yeah, there you go. The puppies are running. Cool. So you can have videos inside of your VR applications. You can surround your users with unique experiences taken in a video form. But what's one thing that you need to remember, this is not exactly mobile friendly. Like, this video is 100 megabytes. So yeah, like I said, not exactly mobile friendly. Okay, one more thing I would like to do is, because in case you haven't noticed, I cannot see you. And I kind of wish I could, because honestly, I just miss you. And it's a great conference, it's a beautiful country, and what we are going to do is we're going to ask ourselves a question. What if I wanted to see what's around me? Well, as with React, there's a special component for that, which is called a live env camera. I mean, it's not supported by default inside of this headset, but this is the magic of open source. So what I've did is I forked this component, and I've made it work in the headset. So, hello everyone. It's good to see you. Oh my, you haven't left. Cool, because I wouldn't notice. Okay, but but check this out. I can see you, kind of, but it's also there's this component, this Hello React Alicante in front of me, that it's not actually real, right? It's kind of like AR. I have something, I can see it, but it's not there. So it got me thinking, okay, oh, cool. I can finally see you with my own eyes. And now. It got me thinking, what if I wanted to do both? What if I wanted to kind of combine those two worlds? In other words, what if I wanted to build my very own HoloLens? HoloLens is a device made by Microsoft. Those are basically like AR goggles. You put them on your head, and you can interact with AR content. And I wanted to buy one of those. And then I saw the price. $5,000, and so yeah, it's not going to happen. So what I did a couple of months ago, I've managed to do a prototype. It's barely stable, to be honest. I wasn't going to show it live because it makes my phone overheat, and I'm using a Samsung, so you know. So what I'm going to do instead, I'm going to show you a video. Whoops. Okay, so this is the video that I took inside of this prototype that I've created. So I can look around, I can interact with the environment, I can read this book about Angular, for some reason. And it's working and it's fine. I can also, I did mention we have bunnies, so I can pet the bunny, and yeah, it doesn't seem too happy about it though, right? Giving back, okay, cool. But the most important part is this. I can look at a marker, and I have AR content in front of me. I don't need to point my phone at anything. I don't need to start any routine. I don't need to click any buttons. I just have to look at something and get it working. I did mention this is an early prototype. And it's not going to go to production. But this is the thing that I want to leave behind after this talk, is that the web of today, it offers us truly unlimited possibilities. And it's just waiting for us to go and explore them together. Thank you so much for listening. Okay, cool. I'm not entirely sure how long was that. Do we have time for questions, or we want to go for coffee?
Yes,
coffee or questions? Okay. In any case, you can also find me around. I'll be here also tomorrow.
Yeah, hi. First of all, great talk.
Cool. Glad you like it.
What's with the introduction to jQuery tab on your browser?
This one?
Yeah, man.
It's a joke. It's the backup of my demos.
Okay, cool. That was all. Thanks.
Okay, cool. All right, let's go for a coffee, I guess, because people are starting to leave.
No more questions? We actually have a few minutes if you want.
Okay, cool.
Unless you don't want to answer.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Hi, Tomasz. That was excellent. Thank you very
cool.
much. I was wondering, how far away are we from, you had an AR object in your VR world, so how far away are we from interacting them with your hand?
On the web?
Yeah, you were looking at the blue box.
Yeah.
Could you interact with the blue box with a gesture, for example?
Well, to be fair, it would. To be fair, I wouldn't use it. I wouldn't use the web to kind of solve this problem, because it would probably have to use TensorFlow.js to kind of TensorFlow, this machine learning library, to kind of do a real-time matching of your hand, and it probably would be kind of difficult. So I would honestly say that we are kind of far away from that, but this is what I said, you just keep exploring. So perhaps, I know, maybe some of you would be interested and are going to do it. Cool. And I would love to hear about it next year in Alicante.
What if you use a special glove with markers?
Sorry?
You can use a glove with markers. Can markers interact with other markers?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, good idea. Good idea, could do that. So you have a laptop, so you can just create a repo.
That's it.
Okay, cool.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.